So the idea of 2+ is we want you to be intentional in thinking about who you should be praying for. And we know that sometimes it needs a little bit of help to be able to come up with the right people. So we are creating some space right now for you to learn and give God a chance to speak into that. So I'm going to pass these out. These 2+ cards are idea is to get you thinking about who to be praying for and who to be intentional with. So the first thing that I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you open it up, and on the first one, we're going to do a short network map. So basically the idea is who in your sphere, in your daily life, or kind of like think about in the next 2 weeks, who will you bump into that doesn't know Jesus? This could be from your workspace, or it could be from your personal life, but take just a second to write down the names of 6 people that don't know Jesus. Now that you've written down those 6 names, we're going to take some time to just give space for God to speak. So I'm going to say a very simple prayer, and then we're going to have a couple minutes to just be silent and let God speak. Now, if you don't hear anything, that's totally fine, but we're just giving space for God to speak. Lord Jesus, I ask that you would bring to mind 2 of the people or more that you would like each of these people to be intentionally praying for and serving in the next few months. So Lord, if there's a name, would you bring that to mind? Now that you have the 2 or more folks that you are intending to be praying for, I would love for you to think about how to pray for them. And so sometimes that can be a little hard to know exactly what to be praying for. And so that's why we have this backside. So if you flip it over on the back half, we have what we call thresholds. So the idea of following Jesus isn't a light switch. It's actually kind of a process, not necessarily linear, but there are different spaces that people tend to be stuck in their journey towards Jesus. And so each of these are identifying different places people could be at and thinking about, so first we're going to think about where they're at, and then we're going to think about how can we be praying and be intentional in their lives to help them move to the next step closer to Jesus. So this first one is trust. The idea of trust is that particularly in this current day and age, there are folks who've never grown up in the church, and maybe the only experience they have of the church is a negative one. And so the first thing that they need to do is cross the threshold from distrust into trust. And so if that's your friend, they might be coming from a place where they've been hurt by the church in the past, or they might be just have no positive experiences with the church. Maybe they just only hear things in the news that are negative, but personally they've had no interaction with the church. And so you personally get to be that light of a positive experience of a Christian. So the second one is curiosity. And curiosity is marked by the idea of they start noticing things about you and your daily walk with Jesus. So they notice that maybe you're a person of prayer, or that you go to church on Sunday. It could be simple as that, like why do you go to church on Sunday? But these are just curiosities, things that they see in you that you are different from the other folks in their spheres, and they're a little bit wondering why that is. Key thing about curiosity is that it's not, they're not having any intention of making any change. They just are looking at the world and noticing things about Christians or about the teachings of Jesus, and they find them peculiar, and they want to understand why. Then the next 2 are open and seeking. They're similar, so I'm going to talk about them, what their differences are. So open is they're moving from just curiosity, but actually thinking that there may be importance to the ideas, teachings of Jesus. They don't have a specific question that they're looking for, and they don't necessarily think that it applies to them. Where seeking is they have very specific questions, something like, is Jesus, did he actually live? Was he a real person? Or did he actually die and get resurrected? Or were the disciples like real people, and did they actually die for Jesus? The answer to those questions would be impactful to their own life. Whereas open is more, they have these questions, but it may or may not be applicable to them. That's kind of the difference between the 2. Think about your 2 friends that you wrote down. Where would you say that they fall? So now that you've taken the time to figure out where they are on there, I also just want you to at a later point, just as you're praying for them, think about what are the things that would help them move a step closer to Jesus. If you see curiosity in them, it's in stoking that curiosity and engaging them in conversation. Or if you see openness in them, a really great way is through storytelling, telling your own story of encountering Jesus and helping them see how Jesus has been meaningful to your life, and then giving them a chance to apply that to their life. If they are interested, go ahead and maybe open up a Bible app and walk them through if they have curiosity, but it's okay if they don't. You're just helping them see the ways that Jesus has you have encountered Jesus and that has brought living water into your life. The next aspect is very simply, it's taking what we've already done. So you're putting down, I'm going to Jane and Jill or Bob and Bill or whatever it is, you're going to put into those name spots. And then the frequency. So is it going to be something that you have space while you're driving to work and every day on your commute to work, you're going to pray for these two people? Or is it something like you have, Tuesdays and Thursdays are just super busy, but I could do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you're just thinking thoughtfully about what can I commit to? And the last bit is you're going to share this with someone. So somebody that that knows you well, that you're friends with, that you get together on a regular basis, and you're going to say, you're actually going to share this card with them and say, I want to intentionally be praying on a regular basis, and I'd love for you to check in with me, and maybe even invite them to do it with you. Maybe they walk them through the process so that they're also intentionally praying for a couple people, and then you can start sharing stories when you get together. I've been praying about this, and then this is what I've seen God do in my friend's life. So being able to have that commitment part and actually making it part of your regular rhythms is really important. So then in the bottom box, you say, I'm going to commit to this. This is my next steps. And you jot it down. And that is what the 2+ card is all about. Getting you into thinking more deeply about your friends, getting you to be intentional in praying for them, and then as the Lord leads, trying to help them move forward in their walk towards Jesus.